Well, hey guys, welcome to the channel, welcome to the stream, and another chapter working on that guy right there. That is our 1/16 scale General Lee from the Dukes of Hazzard MPC model kit. We're gonna run the intro and we'll get started. Okay guys, we're back, and I'm gonna call this episode Exhaust Part 2. As you can see here, I'm not finished with the exhaust pipes. We started them last time and I got some really crazy looking pipes going here, and they don't look that great at all, really. I mean, that doesn't look like proper bent pipe whatsoever. But you know, when this is all painted up and it's sitting underneath the rear axle, I don't think it's really going to be that big of a deal or that big of an issue. But I was looking at this and it's like, there's no mufflers. This is just straight pipe out the back. I need to have some mufflers on this thing. The General Lee would have had mufflers. They weren't running straight pipes with no mufflers on the thing. So I went into Tinkercad and I designed myself some MagnaFlow mufflers, and I printed them off. And so I got this. I designed these all by myself. Yes, all by myself. I'm kind of happy that I was able to do this. So I got myself some MagnaFlow mufflers with my exhaust clamps on the each end. So we've got a what do they call it? An edge entry and then a center output out the back there. And that's what I'm going to be doing. I got two of these. Where's my other one here? Where's my other one? So this one? Yeah, this one here. There we go. So that's going to be my two mufflers. I chose MagnaFlow because, hey, why not? Those are they're stainless steel mufflers, right? So why not? So yeah, I took a measurement of. I already knew my pipe was 4.8 millimeters. So the holes I put in them were 4.9 millimeters, and guess what? Fits perfect, just like that. I didn't do them hollow. They're not hollow, but I've got lots of room in there. This end's not quite as deep. It goes about that far in there. So yeah, I mean, I can't complain. That's going to look awesome. And I measured them so that they're going to fit in that spot there. Just in this little recess here where they would have mufflers. This guy's going to go there like that, just like that. That is spot on. I cannot complain about that at all. What I did with this side here, I actually wound up cutting it on the back there and took a section out just to try and bend it a little bit better. And I've glued that back in. It's just barely, the two parts are just barely touching. I did put some glue on there about an hour ago, so I'm going to take this apart and I'm going to see how well that glue's holding and if I need to add more glue. Yeah, so let's have a look here. We'll take this tape off and take this tape off. This, like that. And it's kind of holding. As you can see, it's just barely touching on there. I don't have much on there at all. I really should, while it's sitting like this, I really should put some CA glue on it. So what I'm going to do is take that tape off. So I want this to hold, so I'm going to put some CA glue on that. Before I do anything else, let's get some CA glue on there and change my glasses. Okay. So I want this to hold together nicely, so I need some CA on this guy here. And I'll even spray it. I don't normally, well, actually I won't spray. I'll just put a drop of my accelerator on there. And call that done. The CA is going to hold it a lot better once that dries. And nice and solid, and that'll hold. It'll make it a little brittle, of course. It's the nature of CA glue. You might notice I've got a big line right there. That's where I'm going to cut that for my muffler. So we're going to cut this right there at that spot. I'm going to cut right through the tape. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to do that. I've left myself lots of spare in the event that she don't fit proper. So we're not using this guy. This was one of my first ones where I've got an edge entry and an edge exit, but I'm not using that one. And that's the other side I would have done. But here's what we're going to use. No, wait, yeah. But this is driver's side. I want this guy. Do I want this guy? No. I do want this one. He's going to go in here. Just like that. It goes in nice and deep, right at the bend. That's perfect. That is perfect because we can get that in there, right there. Now obviously I need to bend this guy down a little bit, and I actually need him to go back out a little ways to get my exhaust tip right where it needs to be. Which is why I love the fact that I've got some play in here and I can adjust my length, which is great. So I can get it adjusted exactly so that my exhaust tip is going to land right there. That is absolutely perfect, like that. Now I think I could heat it up and bend it a little bit down more. I don't think I really need to though, because this guy's going to be CA glued in there. This is going to be glued in, right? Let's just see how much play I do have. If I put this guy all the way forward so that this clamp is touching, do I have enough play? How far out can I go? I could go all the way out to there, and that's way too far. That's farther than I want. So that's right about there is perfect. I think what I'm going to do, because I don't want that going on. That's a little too much. There'll be a little bit of resistance, and I don't want the resistance. So I will heat him up a little bit. Maybe right here on this end. Ow. Yep, you get to see the top of my head while I do that. Perfect. So now I got no resistance. He just sits where he's supposed to go. That's perfect. I cannot really ask for much better, other than maybe I could ask for some better bends, but that doesn't really matter. I think I'm ready to glue him in his spot in the muffler. If I get him right in his spot, that's like, I cannot complain about that, other than my pipe is crooked, so I gotta make sure that is correct. But that is pretty much it. Just like that. If I bring this up, get that pipe, get him bent where he's supposed to be, that is absolutely perfect with the exhaust sticking out right there. That's perfect. So I'm going to put some CA glue on that pipe, stick it in there, and call that done. Get that part done. Okay. So I actually want to mark the pipe so I know exactly how far to shove it in there. Right about there. So I know not to go too far in with the pipe. So I've got that much that I'm going to have glue on there. That's awesome. It's absolutely perfect. My pipe doesn't look the best, but it doesn't matter. Because the point is, it's there. The point is the pipe is there. I'm just going to lay this guy down right there like this. Clean this off. I don't want to bump anything and knock it over and spill it. Because the glue is going to want to, you know, it is going to want to solidify quickly on me. So I got to be mindful of that. Get it in there. Right about there. He's level, he's straight, he's good. Okay. That's good. Yep. That's perfect. Alright, so that's done. So obviously I have my forward one that's going to sit there. And now remember last time I put these little nubs on there? I don't have to worry about that now. Hey, old man Chew Warrior, how you doing? Sorry, I missed the pop-up there. So with this now going to be sitting in the muffler, the height is not going to be where it needs to be. And I had made these to sit down in that little channel too, to give them that little bit of a raise. But now they're going to be sitting in the muffler, so I really don't need those. So I'm just going to trim this piece off like this. Get that relatively straight on there. Like that. It might still kind of act like a little bit of a I'm just going to see how this is going to sit on here. It actually is going to be sitting right on, just flush on there, which is, well, that's fine, really. I got no real problems with that. Our muffler can still fit down flat on there. I'm going to spray this with a little bit of the accelerator, just to, actually I'm not going to spray. I'm going to put a little drop down on there. I want to make sure that's dry. Again, get to see the top of my head. All right. There we go. So we can put this in the side it's supposed to be. What I really should do is get the engine put back in here, because this is going to be way too long now that I've got this extra length, right? So let's just see. Let's get our engine kind of mocked up, sitting in here again. Tip it upside down. This guy in here. I'm going to let it sit on my spare tire so that the engine, it's actually sitting on the engine and not something else. There we go. So the engine will stay in its spot. So now, if I put our muffler in here, line it up right there, and take our pipe, just going to go there. Now, we can go in quite a ways. We can go in on this side, we can go in, well, not quite as far. We can only go in about that much. So that's how much play I've got. Okay, so let's just take something that I can use as a guide. Let's see. I'll use, yeah. What can I use that it's actually going to sit for me? Pick something that I've cut off already and is useless. How about the width of that? That's good. Okay, so the width of that's my plate. So if I put that there, I know roughly the pipe is going to go in that deep. I want it that deep. And I want to have a little play. So I line that up on the header here. I need to kind of have the pipe like this to bring it in, because if I just go straight, I'm not lined up on the muffler. As much as I'd like to be lined up on the muffler, I'm not. Now I could bring the muffler out closer to the frame. I could do that, and that might work out okay. But with the pipe there, and I know I want that much play, I can go a maximum of this far. So we're going to trim that off. This is like my maximum length here. So this is probably going to be still too long. So we'll shove that in there. That roughly straight up and down. Okay. Let's put this on. Yeah, see, now I'm sticking out. It's forcing the muffler back, which forces everything back, so I've got to trim off that little bit. So let's trim off roughly, I'm going to say 2 millimeters, something like that. Let's try and, now of course it pinched, so I need to fix my pipe here, make that round again. Let's test this. That's right, I'm kind of pressing on there. So I can go another millimeter. I'm going to go 1 more millimeter. Just like that. I didn't quite cut it straight. I cut it on a bit of an angle, so I'm going to get my file, take that funny looking edge off of it. Okay, let's try this. Now, of course, had I, thought ahead, I could have made the hole like 90% of the way back, right? Or even made the muffler hollow. But I was in a little bit, I wasn't thinking. It was about 5 in the morning when I was designing this muffler, so I wasn't really thinking. Okay, so that's perfect. My pipe is a little short now, so I can pull it out just that little bit, and we've got a pretty good section here that I think we can deal with. The only problem, the only issue, is the pipe is a little low. If I were to bring it up a little bit and just angle that muffler just a hair, I can do that, and the pipe lines up. Alternatively, I could just bend this a little bit. I could heat it up and bend it just a little here. Maybe I will. Where those lines are, I'm going to heat that up and bend that and have my pipe just bent up just a little bit. Just a little tiny bit. That's about perfect. You guys, I'm doing this off camera, sorry. I just looked at the camera and realized that this is off camera. So yeah, so there's that sitting there like this. That sits like that. That is perfect. So I can take a piece of heat shrink tubing and put it over my exhaust pipes there, my header pipes, and shrink that down, and it will look it will look pretty decently like a collector going to a pipe. And so there's one side that's pretty much done, I think, just like that. I decided I'm not, you remember last time I tried to make myself a little cross pipe? I've decided this is horrible and I did a crappy job on it and I don't like it, so I'm not going to do it. This is going to be garbage. I'm not doing this one. We're just going to have to deal with the fact we don't have a crossover tube. And just call it that, right? And just the way it is. Okay, let's get this part done here, okay, on this side. We have our other muffler, gonna go in like this, and so, oh yeah, we gotta get rid of that thing. Okay, that's done. That's roughly right about that spot where it's gonna go in. Looks like, anyway. So let's see here. Just hold this like that. And I know roughly it's going to be about the same as the other pipe, but I want to get a start here of roughly here. Roughly that spot there. See how far this goes in. So it's pretty close. It's pretty close. I'm not that far off. I'm like, maybe just shave this down a little bit, and I might have it perfect. Let's try that. Yeah, this one, it's about perfect. I just need to heat up that pipe. I just need to heat it up and bend that up a little bit. Again, just that little bit, just so you notice it's just not quite straight. When I put that muffler down, I think that's good enough. I think that's good enough. Muffler's there. Well, actually maybe not. It needs a little more. It needs more. I had the clamp just kind of sitting on the thing, and so that's not quite right. So we got to warm it up. We got to bend this a little more. A little more. I don't want to bend it too much. I put too much of a bend in it, so, or I heat it up too much, then suddenly it's going to look weird. But that's better. There we go. She's lined up now. That's good. There we go. Our mufflers line up. That's great. And I still have some play in here. I could pull this out if I need to. If I need to lengthen it, which I won't, but I can. And that's the beautiful part of it. Yes, that's great. That's going to look pretty cool when she's all done. Okay, I'm excited about it. All right, so I was looking at this and thinking, I really need to redo this. This is just horrible, and I want to redo it because it looks like junk. The way it sits right now, I want that to sit about there, so I want to trim off maybe about that much off of this. if I cut this to what I need, then I'll have a good template for when I want to redo it. You know what I mean? So I'm going to pull this out since this is good, and I just need to put this in. See, this whole thing just doesn't sit right really at all. I mean, as far as clearing everything, it's fine, and I could put it like this, and yeah, that'd be okay. I just need to cut this back, right, to be able to glue onto that piece. It's just this ugly looking 90-degree bends and folding of the pipe. It got me wondering what would happen if I put like a piece of wire inside of this, and I bend it, and actually bend the wire while I bend the tube. You know, because I heat it up, and when I heat it up, it just wants to wrinkle on the inside edge on each part, right? And it makes it so it's really hard to do. And I understand that's why a lot of guys use solder when it comes to making pipes, but I don't have solder that's, you know, almost 5 millimeters in diameter, so I don't have that option. And I don't have a pipe bender, and besides, you can't use a pipe bender on plastic. Or maybe you can. Can you use a pipe bender on plastic? I don't think you can. I think the plastic just cracks, right? And would not work at all, really, I don't think. Okay, as far as we can take our engine out, since we don't need to mock that up anymore. So our engine could sit on the side. The other thing I was thinking about, we're going to go off track here just to think about something. The engine currently is going to, where it's making contact on the frame and everything like that, we have our shifter. That is touching the transmission tunnel. So that makes contact there. So that's a glue point, right? If I didn't want to have functional steering, I could glue the steering rod to the bottom of the oil pan, but I want to have my wheels able to still, you know, turn, because that's cool and I want to be able to do that, right? So then I got to look at where else is the engine going to be making contact on the frame. Well, I've got my header, one of my header pipes, I guess what is that number? I don't know the numbering sequence on the cylinders, but it's the front on the driver's side. That one's making contact on the frame down in there, and I think I got a header, maybe it's the number 1 cylinder, kind of making contact on this rod that goes through down in there. And that's where I've got, those would be, I would consider those glue points, possible glue points. So I've got 3 points of contact right now, and it's hard to tell from underneath, but the oil filter adapter is actually touching on the frame here also. So that's another spot that I could put glue and have our engine glued in. I'm a little hesitant to glue the engine in before I get the, let's just put this here, before I get the inner fender wells in. I'll get those ready, because my inner fender wells, that's got to go in here and got to kind of push in behind the engine there and all that kind of stuff. So I want to kind of have this all ready to go, painted and everything ready for the engine, so I can glue that down on the frame and then put the engine in. That's kind of my thought process on how this is all going to come together. Of course, having this being like the first time I've done this kind of an extent of modifications, I'm really just guessing at it, you know. This is a lot of guesswork here. So yeah. So anyway, back to the muffler. that ain't gonna work. We gotta tilt that down in there. And as much as that would work to just kind of curve this in and have that like that, it's just not very visually appealing, especially this bend here. I really don't like that at all. And I want to kind of try and mimic this same one here, and do that. So, except obviously opposite. So I think I'm going to try again with getting that pipe done, and just see if I can do a better job on the other side, and kind of go from there, you know, and use this one as my template to do that. I want to kind of fill this in a little bit, and I think that CA glue did a pretty good job of filling in there, but it obviously needs a lot of love, let's put it that way, and some sanding and filing and stuff like that to get this just a little more smooth and look a little more presentable. Because once I primer this whole thing and then get this painted silver, it's going to look like garbage. It's just going to suddenly expose all of my horrible, my horribleness. It's going to expose my horribleness. That's what it's going to do, and I don't want to expose too much of my horribleness. So let's grab another piece of pipe and see if I can just do a little bit better job on it. Considering my pack came with 4 pieces, and I've used 2, and well, I don't need that much now, but what I've got left over from my other ones is just not long enough to use. So let's just do a guess here. Like go like this, go like that. I'm gonna go like this, then tilt down, move over, move up to there, and move that to there, go up to here and bend, and then we get about there. So roughly that length. That's a good length to use, I think. Okay. Here's a good piece. We'll keep that one. Okay. So we'll start with our bend that's going to be at the top. See what I mean? As soon as I bend it, as soon as I grab it, it wants to curl. And of course, it also wants to that's going to be okay to go in there and go and be going down, even if it's not sticking out as far as that one. That's okay. I mean, I can go right to there and it's going to be close. But again, it almost kinked, right? It almost kinked on me. I mean, technically it could do something like, I don't know, take a little stick or a metal rod, shove it in there, like maybe a file or something like that. Heat it up and kind of poke through there and kind of bend that, push that out. Where's my little tiny file here? Let's just try that. Let's see if I can unkink the bend. Not really. I poked a little hole in it. Almost poked a hole in it. So that's not good. That's not a good idea. Okay, so if we go down, we want to now kind of create a bend in this area here. Let's see if we can kind of heat up a bit of an area. That's hot to the touch, I tell you. I tell you what. Okay, I think we're down way too far, but that's okay. I want to bend here. That was going to be our bend up, I think. And it's not really going to matter. We want to go up high here. That part don't matter because that's down here at the bottom, right? So who really cares about that? But that's looking pretty good so far. If I put this in here, we're okay. I think we're okay. But I need it to come up fairly quickly. Right about maybe here is where that next bend needs to be. I almost want to heat it up and then put it down here and then bend it down. I think that's what I'm going to do. Put you in place. Okay, I got a bit of a kink in it, but that's okay. We're pretty close to what we need. I think we're going to come back here like this. We got to come down just a little bit. You don't want to have your stuff on fire. That's pretty much where I need it right there. I'm going to turn this guy around here. I realize I'm not doing this on camera. I wonder if having a pipe cleaner inside while bending might stop it from kinking. That's the thing, right? I'm not sure. I really don't know. I do have like some metal wire, like this is some tie wire that might help, but it's not very strong, right? I think to prevent the kinking I need some strong wire. But then at the same time I'm also thinking if I've got a wire in there and I do this funky bend through there, I might not be able to pull the wire out. But at the same time it wouldn't really matter if the wire's stuck in there. I don't know. But this kind of like weird looking kinks and stuff like that, I can file that down if I get my file here. I can file that edge down and round that off and make it look like it. You're not going to see the underneath. So as long as I file this down, you know, there's enough material in the tube to, I just take this, just because I want it to look better now, right? Like that already looks better than it did. It just looks like the pipe is twisted a little bit, that's all. But I mean, so what? So the pipe's twisted, that happens. You gotta bend the pipes, right? I mean, that looks better. They don't have this weird thing sticking out there now, and that looks a lot better there. So just that alone, just doing that makes it look so much better. I can refine it. I can do a lot more sanding and filing and stuff like that and get this looking a little more smoother. The fact that it's kinked here, that really matters not at all because, well, it's sitting on the frame under there and you can't tell it's a kinked pipe, right? So good enough for me. And same with that little fold in there, so what? You can't see that. So I think that's good. It's just a matter now of getting our other tip on there. I'm going to move this over so you can see a little bit better. you can see a little more what I'm doing here. I want to get it lined up so that this, I'm actually going to tape this muffler down, because I want to have my mufflers exactly the same on each side. So I need to get this lined up so that it sits and stays. And the same with this guy, because I want them both to be sitting in the same spot. I want my exhaust tips to be the same. And my pipe is, I'm impressed with myself. I did a pretty good job of getting my pipe in the same spot. It's just a matter of where this needs to be cut. So we're going to tape this muffler to its home. So he stays and doesn't move around on me. And now you can see, yeah, so he needs to be in that position like that, and that's perfect. So let's mark where that needs to be cut. I'm going to mark this in the same spot there, and we're going to get rid of the black mark. That's the thing. That's going to be the key. Now, and if I happen to cut it too long, I can move it back. If I cut it too short, I can pull it out. So I've got play. So even if that is incorrect, I still got some play room, and that is really cool. So trim that off, try and get that as straight as possible. It's pretty close, but you know, my cutting skills are not the best, so that's pretty flat. That's going to go on there like this. So put him in. There we go. Like so. And I got nowhere near enough room because I shoved that in too far. But that's okay. That's why I got playroom. Go. Now it's a little too far out, but that's perfect. I want to have this, when I glue this on there, I want to have this with the play that I need. Right there. The angle I need so that I know exactly what angle to glue this guy down on. That's the whole thing here. And I don't want him flopping, so don't flop on me. Let's put you down on something here. Yeah, it's going to go like that. So I actually need to file that down just a little bit at a bit of a different angle, slightly different angle. Go. Yeah, that's going to be good. Okay, so what I need to do, bring that out. I'm not gluing the pipe, I'm not totally gluing this, but I'm just gluing the tip on in the exact spot it needs to be. So, let's get the CA glue. And my applicator. There we go. Just like that. Of course, my CA glue, being a little thick, doesn't want to dry that quickly. So I'm going to hold it for a sec. We're almost holding. Now we're holding. Okay, let's have a look. We're pretty good. Our angles are not perfect. But then again, my mufflers are not perfect either. And I think maybe I might be able to play with the angles a little bit. I won't be able to with this one so much. I could maybe bend this a little bit. This one I might have some playroom, maybe. I don't know. This one just is angled a little bit more. Let's say this is angled down, this one's straight, right? That's the biggest difference. If I tip this over and show you, you'll be able to see. That's kind of what they look like. When if you go in the side view, you'll see one's angled just a little bit, just like it's subtle. It's not much. I can see it, like I can really see it here on this side here. You can see that angle's different, right? That's the biggest difference. One is angled and one is not. So the question is, how do I fix that? I mean, I could do this. If this is like, I don't know, how do I bring this up to angle it? I could bend this pipe just a little bit. Let's try that. Let's take this out. I gotta close my CA glue. I'm really paranoid about dumping this over. I'm gonna try just bending this just a hair more. Let's see if that did it. Well, that did it totally. Not totally, but very close. I want to put just a slight little curve, very subtle curve in this pipe. It's just a very subtle little curve. Get that on there. Hold that down. It's closer. It's much, much closer. I'm a lot happier with the way it is. Let's put it that way. Okay, that's that. Am I ready to glue this one in? I think so. I think I can glue this pipe in here on the back. Let's take the tape off. This one I'm going to do a little different. I'm just going to put some glue around the edge here at the bottom, rather than gluing the actual pipe into the hole. Because I really am relying on the way it is sitting right now to stay exactly where I want it to be. I want it to stay exactly in this spot. And so we're just going to do that. And spray the accelerator on there. And there we have our pipe perfectly placed. That is great. I'm really happy with that. The way these have come out, that looks really great. And my rear end is going to fit in there. She's going to fit without interfering with anything. She's just going to sit down in there. Absolutely perfect. In fact, this one's got a tab. It can fit right there. Boom. Just like that. Rear end's not touching the exhaust. It's absolutely perfect. Just like that. Looks good. I'm happy with that result. I'm really happy with that. So now, I did pick up I got some heat shrink tubing to act as my collector on my engine. I just don't know. You know what I don't know? Which is left and which is right. The one with the funny curve is the right. It's this one. Let's just shove him in there. Okay, and you go on this side. Okay, let's just leave those for now. I want to deal with my my collectors that I got to put on this. Okay, I need heat shrink tubing that's big enough to fit on those 4 pipes. You guys see those pipes there? Those big pipes? That's what they give you out of the kit for your exhaust, and that's it. And you don't get this at all in the kit. So I got some heat shrink tubing of various sizes just to see what size I actually need to fit over my collectors. I don't think, no, this is 1/4 inch, I think, and that definitely ain't gonna fit. This is a little bit bigger stuff. That might fit on there. Oh, she just, oh boy. I could probably get it to kind of stretch. Oh, it does too. Just barely. Just barely. But that's all I need, really. The question is, will this stuff shrink enough to go around that tube? So if I cut a section off here, I'm going to do a little test. I'm just about out of time, just about got to get going, but I want to do a little test with my heat shrink and see how much it shrinks around that. Okay, so we're just going to hold on to this, put the tube over it like that, and add some flame, and we'll see, get this to shrink. And that shrinks pretty good on there. In fact, it's tight. Oh yeah, that's awesome. That's gonna work absolutely perfect. That's gonna be my collector. That will work great. So when that time comes, all I've got to do is shove a piece of the heat shrink tubing on there. I can cut myself a couple of lengths. Let's use scissors because it's going to cut a little nicer. A couple of lengths like that. Let's see if we can cut that straight. A nice straight cut would be ideal in trying to make this look real. I think probably that length, maybe. If I can get that over those, Actually, no, I don't think that length. I'm going to need something longer. We're going to have to go longer with this. Let's get this cut straight here. We're going to have to go about that long, I think. About that long, I think, is going to be better. We can stretch this over. Wow. It doesn't really want to go over these pipes. I might have to file them down a little bit. If I work on them too much, I might wind up breaking them off the head, and I don't want to do that. I'd rather not have them break off. Come on. Get on there. There we go. Such a tight fit. There we go. There's one. That's cool. Okay, let's get the same length for the other side. Let's start with this length. And we can trim it down. I want the same length on both sides. There we go. Now this side slid on was no problem. It's pretty tight though. But there we go. We've got our collectors on there now. We'll get when it's time to put this on, our pipes can just go in and match up right in there. Boom, heat, shrink, get some fire on there and heat them up and shrink them down onto the pipes. And that will work out just perfect. Yes, that is awesome. All right, so that's where I kind of have to leave this now for the day, and we'll have to continue the rest of this next time. Next time, I think we're going to start doing some body work. The putty for my wheel wells is dried, and I have filed down the real harsh sections of it. So I'm just about ready to start sanding it down, getting it smoothed out, and then we can work on getting that shape for this mimicking the same shape as the rear, and putting that on the front, and get that done. And so, but that's going to be next time, guys. I'm happy with the exhaust. What I'll do off camera, I'll get my exhaust pipes, I'll get them primed up and get those painted, and get those ready for the next time. So, speaking of next time, I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you for joining me on my little journey here. And yeah, don't forget that I got down in the description box, you can check links to my other stuff, like my Instagram and my Twitch and stuff like that. Every time I finish a project, I take a bunch of pictures of it and I upload it to my Instagram. I'm trying to get more into the habit of uploading it to my X channel as well, so you can check that out if you feel like it. And of course, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, leave a comment down below too. I love to read your guys' comments. But that's where we're going to leave it for today, and we'll see you all on the next one.